good. Too many people to make any noise, I guess. Welcome to Jackknife 55. It's good to see everyone. We are well over fire code, so let's see. Exit back there, exit back there. You probably jump through a window in the green room there, just so you know. What we normally do to start off the show is we hand out a couple free beers. Are you guys excited for some free beers? He sounds excited. Patrick, get on up here. Hey! Everybody put your hands together for my co-host, Patrick Hastie.
Alright, okay, I got 5!
No, there's 6.
I got 6.
There's 6.
Okay, one.
Some lucky person that wouldn't normally get a beer is going to get a beer.
You guys can sip it together, you know, like share it.
Yeah, just pass it around. You guys know, sharing is caring and all that good stuff.
Anybody? There you go. No, there you go. Cool.
He's just,
Hey, beer over here, anybody? Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
my co-host, he's the,
If they throw their hand up, they're going to be
Sharon to my stone.
Right there.
You guys get it. So here's a fun thing. I'm a dad now. Thank you. People normally just clap, but I appreciate that. We wanted to name our son, my wife and I, we wanted to name our son after our dads. Her dad's name is Robert, my dad's name is Bradley, so we took the R-O-B from her dad's name and the L-E-Y from my dad's name, and we named our son Robley. It's cool. That was actually my second choice. My wife refused to call our son Bradbert. So we went with Robley. Here's the interesting thing that I found out having a son. Did you guys know that like baby boys can get like erections? You guys know that? Yeah, they can get little. I mean, they're not like they're not like the real deal, Like you open up the diaper and you're like, hey, this looked a little bigger than earlier today, but not a lot, just a little bigger. It's weird. It is weird. I was changing my son's diaper recently, and I looked at him and I was like, he had a little baby boner, and I was like, oh my God, you are 3 months old. What are you possibly turned on by? And he was like, titties. And I was like, I get it. I mean, I guess all babies are tit guys, or women, whatever. Okay, didn't need to do all that. He's only been alive for like 3 or 4 months now. I don't remember. It's not important. He won't remember either. But like even before we had him, people were like buying us stuff for the baby. Someone had bought us a baby Bjorn. Yeah, they're great, but we had no baby to put in the baby Bjorn. So what I would do is I'd wear the baby Bjorn, go to the store, buy a watermelon, carry it home in the baby Bjorn. It's fun, I loved doing that. The best part about it though was when I would catch a stranger try and get a glimpse of my baby. And then I'd watch them slowly realize that it wasn't a baby, it was in fact a watermelon. And then I would just look up slowly and go, oh no, the curse! I got the first two questions on Jeopardy right earlier, and I thought I was the smartest man alive, the smartest guy with $200. I got super cocky about it, I was like, Ken Jennings ain't shit. I was like, I'm going to keep track of my score, to see how much money I'd win when I go on the show, inevitably. So I kept score of the second round, and turns out when everything was said and done, I was down $20,000. Jeopardy would have owned me, I would have been like Trebek's pool boy or something, like greasing him up and combing sunscreen through his mustache, because he doesn't want the UV rays to fade the mahogany brush on his upper lip. Like I'm not smart, I'm not a smart guy. I can't go on Jeopardy, I'd lose everything. Like one of the questions on there, the category was crossword clues, and the answer was a 5-letter word for a pirate's booty holder. Anyone? Chest, correct. I said pants. Correction, I said, what is pants? All right, everybody, you ready to get this show started?
Go crazy for yourselves, everybody. We're doing it tonight. Night comedy. This is our 65th show! So exciting. 65, baby. One short of Mario Lemieux. He's my favorite hockey player. Where's my hockey fans at? Just that one guy who was casual as shit about it. This is fun. My name is Patrick. This is a great show. Jackknife, we've been doing it forever. It's very fun. We book some of the best comics all around. You guys are going to absolutely love it. You guys are going to go nuts. Clap if you've been to a Jackknife comedy show before. We're in my front row. That's right. We're in my dog pound, right? You know, remember Arsenio? Yeah. Arsenio Hall hugged me once. I don't have a joke about it, but I think about it every fucking day. He hugged me, and I know what love is now, you know what I mean? And I was married before and still am, you know? Okay, here we go. Let's do some stand-up comedy. How's it? You guys are drinking booze. I love it. That's fantastic. You guys drinking? You guys drinking? You guys got some nachos right there. That's fantastic. You guys got a whole fucking meal on that table. That's really... You bring that hot sauce from home? Beyonce does that. What if Beyonce hugged me? Ooh, it'd be over. Let's see. Okay, I'll do stand-up comedy now. My name is Patrick. I'm from Iowa. Anybody else? God damn it! Never once. How cool would it be, buddy, if you like hockey fan, you raise your hand, you're like Marshall down, and then we kick everybody out and talk about hogs for 40 minutes? It'd be so good, so cool. No, I am from Iowa. I grew up on a farm. Did anybody grow up on a farm? Clap if you grew up on a farm. Damn it, sometimes you get them here in New York, you know? They're like, up near Albany, we had sheep. And I'm like, that's not a farm, that's a ranch, and you're rich. Your dad is part of the problem. Don't get me wrong, my dad's part of the problem, but like, strictly from a voting stance. If you have sheep, your dad's part of the problem, and he's in charge. He's making decisions, you know? All right, I guess I shouldn't have riffed on the bit. I grew up on a farm. You see a lot of fucking weird stuff on a farm, okay? I was trying to make a list of all the weird shit I saw on the farm, and then my hand got tired, you know? Because I started jacking off in the middle of it. But, no, I did. This is one of the weirdest things about a farm is the weird thing that you see when you just grow up on a farm that you realize is weird to other people is I saw a lot of cows get artificially inseminated as a kid, right? Which is weird to, you know, tell people, you know, especially in the heat of passion, you know? You're like, hey, honey, guess what I saw? But what's funny is it's not like you don't just go out into your own barn and try to like coax them to each other. That's not how you do it. You have to take them in a truck to a guy named Donnie who lived up the road from us. And Donnie was this old ass farmer guy, and he had like machines that would like put them up together so they'd fuck. But what was funny is that Donnie, as soon as like when he gets ready to start doing the process or whatever, that's his words, not mine. He would go, he would start playing Willie Nelson like in the barn. Like he had like a Bose speaker set up in the barn, and all of a sudden Willie Nelson started playing, and he'd be like, "It helps him out." I was like, I think I learned a lot about Donnie that day. You know what I mean? I think it helps Donnie out. You know? I've heard of Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, but Donnie is coming in the barn. You know? Goddamn. Let's see. What else I want to talk about? I love. I'm a happy guy. I used to work in a small town. I used to live in a small town. I worked at a Blockbuster Video in that small town. I'm not bragging, buddy. You know, I've been around. Thank you. Way back, yeah, 9 years. 4 years before Arsenio hugged me. I used to work at a Blockbuster Video in a small town, which is fucking weird because everybody in the town knows you because everybody used to go to Blockbuster. And so like you would come up in the weirdest situations. Like one time I was at the town's porn shop, you know, like where you go buy your porn, and I was walking through it. You know those rooms they have in the porn stores where the people just go in there and jerk off, you know? A fella came out of one of those rooms after he was done, I assume, jerking off. He walks out and he just goes, "Ooh, Blockbuster guy, what comes out this week?" And I was like, I don't want to do this here. God, I don't need that. It was fun working there, though. Weird shit happened when I worked at the Blockbuster, though. People would ask weird questions. This is a lot of like knowledge. You guys remember this movie called Fly Away Home? Right? It was Anna Paquin. She's a little girl. She loves geese, and her dad, Jeff Daniels, builds her like an airplane so she can fly all these geese. Does this make sense? You guys remember some of this weird movie? It's a weird movie. That's what you need to know. Jeff Daniels is the dad, Anna Paquin's the daughter, right? Well, 10 years later, this movie called The Squid and the Whale came out. Have you guys ever heard of this movie called The Squid and the Whale? Anyone? No? Noah Baumbach, great director. In this movie, Jeff Daniels, that actor, and Anna Paquin, that actress, they have like a sex scene in it, okay? Because she's an adult by then, you know? And they're not real father and daughter, they're just actors, you know? But the way I found out about this was because when I was working at the Blockbuster, I had a guy walk in one day, come right to the counter and go, "Hey, you got that movie where the dad from Fly Away Home fucks the daughter from Fly Away Home?" And I was like, God, I hope not, but I did. And so I rented him The Squid and the Whale, and then he took it, and then he never brought it back. What's that guy's life like, you know?
I am so glad me and my camel toe can make it tonight. She's new. I didn't know that when you gain weight, so does your vagina. So here we are. It's my favorite time of year. Yeah. Oh, okay. Listen, I love fall and winter, not because I give a shit about like the holidays or the snow. No, it means I don't have to shave my toes for 6 months. Hey, fuck those sandals. Hurry, ladies. All right, thank you. Okay, shit. You guys see this little pineapple on my head? It grows all over my damn body. All right. Pray for my future husband, please. Yeah, I'm black and Arab, right? Yeah, so I kind of doubled down on the hair. True. My dad is black, regular black, not one of these fancy Wakanda joints. Good old slave descendant black. And my mom is Arab, like one of the Trump banned countries. So, you know, that basically means I can get pulled over for no reason and sent to Guantanamo. It's amazing. I love living in Gilead. My Handmaid's Tale people got that. That's right. I turned 33 this year. Yeah, that's right. And, you know, I didn't think it could happen, but the older I get, the hairier I get. Yeah. Would you look at this, sis? Do you see this fucking beard coming in? I'm tweezing more than my eyebrows. All right? And I just would have liked a warning. I'm like, damn, is that what's been hiding underneath my grandmother's hijab? Thought she was being a faithful servant. Nope, hiding those razor bumps. Thanks, Grandma. Would have appreciated a warning, you know. I'm graying everywhere. Anyone graying? Yeah? I'm graying everywhere. Everywhere. It's sad, because I used to call her the stairway to heaven, you know? And now she's the pearly gates. Like, some bullshit. So I get waxed. Yeah, I get waxed. You guys get waxed? You get waxed? Yeah. Woo! That shit is disrespectful to your spirit. Right? They just rip off your whole fucking epidermis. They don't care. They smirk when they do it, you know? And the waxing salons hate me. They fucking hate me because they know when I walk in, I'm about to put these bitches to work. Okay? Thought you were gonna have an easy Thursday? Gotcha, bitch. Yeah. They're always rude, rolling their eyes and shit. That's kind of like my pet peeve though. Like, don't you hate people who hate people but work in customer service? Like, what the fuck is that, right? And the receptionist, she's the worst one because she never plays it cool. You know, she likes to embarrass me and read out loud everything I'm getting done in front of the whole room. She's like, okay, Norah, let's see. Eyebrows, okay, top lip, bottom lip, yeah. Chin, neck, sideburns, back neck, underarms, Brazilian. I'm like, damn, bitch, just put me in the room, Inga. Fuck, about to get your ass deported, keep playing. I blame my parents, because they're both fucking hairy. I'm like, what were y'all thinking? You know, like, what the fuck, man? But I just realized this holiday season, like, yo, your parents are just fucking people. You know, they don't know what they're doing, right? They have no fucking clue. My mom, she's this beautiful, smart, funny, mean-ass bitch, you know, my kind of lady. She doesn't take shit from anyone, including her children, right? But she didn't believe in spankings. Did you guys get spanked? No? Yeah? No, she didn't believe in spanking. She believed in whooping your ass, all right? And she didn't give a shit about no authorities. She was so bold, she called her ass whoopings child abuse. Yeah. Imagine me and my brother in the store acting up, and she's like, hey, y'all want some child abuse when we get home? Let's get this together. I love doing that joke for millennials. They're like, oh my God. Are you in therapy? I am. Definitely am. But I mean, I did have a 4.0, a bachelor's and a master's. Like, couple more ass whoopings. Could have been fucking president. I don't know. But it worked. You know, my mom was super overprotective, you know, like she was very strict. Like she wouldn't even let me play with friends that had dads. I remember losing my childhood best friend because her mama found love. I was like, damn. It's cool. But I mean, I get it. She was aware of all the weirdos in the world, all the Sandusky's and the Michael Jacksons, you know. I mean, he's been dead for 10 years, y'all. Like, he wasn't climbing trees with those kids, okay? I know, we got some fans, I'm sorry. That's why you won't see like one childhood photo of me sitting on anyone's lap. Not like Santa Claus's lap, not the Easter Bunny's lap, not my Uncle Pete's lap, like no one's lap. No, oh, I'm the only one that has a sketchy ass uncle that you can't leave alone in a room full of kids? Okay. Okay. Every Thanksgiving I get yelled at like, damn it, you left the kids alone again, you know he was raised Catholic. Lame. My dad's the complete opposite. He's a retired 90s drug dealer. Yeah. You don't hear that sentence too often, you know? You don't know what their retirement plan. My dad's 401k is his old bitches and his children. It's great. He's one of those guys you see like in a full gray sweatsuit with the Bluetooth still in their ear. He hasn't missed a call since 01. It's great. And I feel like drug dealing daddies get a bad reputation, but listen, my dad was present in my life, okay? He came to every recital and graduation and play, and I always knew he was there because when all the other parents would be in the back like clapping politely, I could always hear my dad like, yeah, motherfucker, that's my daughter! I'd be like, oh shit, my dad made it, guys. See, I told you, hey dad. He read me bedtime stories at night, you know? Yeah. He read me bedtime stories and tucked me in, and then he did something he called his survival skill questions. He'd be like, okay, baby girl, if you hear a whole bunch of knocks at the door, and then a whole bunch of men run up in the house, who do you think that is? The po-po? That's right, baby girl. And if the po-po come up in here, what are you supposed to do? I'm supposed to run to the back room, get all the flour, and flush it down the toilet. He'd be like, that's my fucking baby girl, you know? I thought it was progressive, you know? He always called me the son he never had, but he had 5 sons. It's great. It's great.
I'm pretty worried. But I'm always worried about the wrong things. Like, we only have so much time on this earth, and I have spent a lot of it. I'm actually pretty worried about you. You good? Pretty good word. Just want to make sure. He is allergic to my comedy. Yeah, like we only have so much time on this earth, and I have spent a good amount of it worried about the band Chicago and how they are going to handle search engine optimization. They're not built for it. It's not good. If you don't know what search engine optimization is, it's the things that you can do so that when someone Googles you, your name is the first one that pops up. If you don't know who Chicago is, good luck. You're not going to find it out on the internet. Not easily anyway. And I know some of you are going to be like, oh, you could just look them up by their most famous album. Their most famous album is called Chicago Transit Authority. It's bad. They're drifting deeper into the internet by the day, and I am up thinking about it. So, it's not good. The one thing that I worry a lot about, that I hate that I worry about, is looking cool. You know, I hate that I worry about looking cool. I thought like, oh, eventually I'll grow out of wanting to look cool, but now that I'm older, I'm like, I'm running out of time to look cool. If I don't look cool soon, I don't know when it's going to happen. The window is closing, and it is closing quickly. Apparently, guys, men, the secret to looking cool is just finding pants that fit. Wow, that's a secret that I just found out, and now my time is pretty much up for looking cool. Not good. The time that I feel like I look the least cool, though, is when I have to ask for the check at a restaurant. Because I do the little, you know, the like thing where I'm like asking for the check with my hand, but then I don't say actual words. So I'm just like, and I've worked at a restaurant. I know I'm not the only one who does that. Why do we do that? Like, it could be the loudest man in a restaurant who the whole time has just been like, everyone here needs to hear about my business. It's like, just say the words, because it's not a volume thing. Sometimes it's very loud. I don't know why it's happening. I hate it. I look so dumb. Because the thing is like, we're not being courteous to the people who work. If you're working at a restaurant, they're there for the money, you know? Like, that's like being on a game show and being like, and now for the grand prize of $1 million. You know, like, just say it. This sucks. Are y'all on LinkedIn? Y'all getting linked? Y'all getting linked? Anybody? You're getting linked. I'm getting linked as hell. I got linked on the train over here. I got an email from LinkedIn recently that said, check out Luke Franklin's new skills. But here's the thing about Luke Franklin. Luke Franklin is my ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend. So LinkedIn was just like, Luke Franklin he's doing real well right now. He's becoming increasingly attractive to employers and really anybody. Let's tell James. Let's tell James so quickly. Let's tell him directly where he can't avoid it. And I thought that I had too much dignity to just check out Luke Franklin's skills, but I didn't know I remembered my password that much, you know, but I got in there quick, you know. And I mean, at first I was like, hey, if I'd known that she wanted someone who could do data analysis, like, maybe I could have made this work, you know. But then I handled it with the only skill that I knew how, which is that I started going to shows and I would pull up his profile and I would read his skills off, and then I would make jokes about them and I would make fun of his skills, because like his third skill was Microsoft Office. Like that was his third best thing he's good at. And so I was doing this every night until somebody was like, hey man, you should stop. You should stop doing that. Which comedians usually don't say. I was like, come on, it's not that petty. He's like, no. Luke Franklin gets a notification every time you look at his profile. So there have been many nights, sometimes more than one a night, where Luke Franklin got a notification that was like, her ex-boyfriend is looking at your profile right now. So I can only imagine him being like, I think James is gonna hire me? I'm not, kill me? I don't know. It's not good. It's not good. All right, thanks so much. Bye.
Now, I am an Arab lady, like the comic, well, a couple comics before me. I hate that when people think that we all come from like the same place. Like I had someone tell me last week, they were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry about what's happening in Syria. Is your family okay? You know, and I had to explain to them, well, actually my family is Palestinian and they live in Alabama, so no, they are not okay. Thank you for asking, though. I hate every time I'm in the South. I've been in New York for 10 years now. I forget how, like, no one gives a shit where you're from. Like Wilfred was saying, like, it's way more diverse here. But when I'm back in Alabama, everybody wants to, like, figure out my ethnicity because I look ethnically ambiguous there. And, like, people always ask in, like, such strange ways. This is definitely the weirdest one I've gotten. I had this older white lady come up to me, and she's like, you know, you look really international. I mean, what the fuck does that even mean? What do you say? I was like, thanks, I was actually conceived at a UN orgy, so maybe that's what you're picking up on right here. Yeah. My dad was very strict growing up. I was like very sheltered. My parents were conservative Arab Muslims, and I didn't know what was going on in people's lives. Like I didn't know. Like I remember in high school, one of my classmates came up to me and she was like, dude, I got like really stoned last night. I was like, holy shit, what did you do to piss your dad off? No, that joke kills in Saudi Arabia. Is anyone here from the South?
Yeah.
Any Southerners? Yeah, where from?
Texas.
Texas, all right, gun country. Did your family have guns growing up?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, just like 100. My dad had is how much he tried to blend in into the South. Like, he had a gun when we were growing up, except he never used it but once a year on the 4th of July to celebrate. He would just shoot it up in the air instead of fireworks because those were illegal. Take out my gun. I was just like, Dad, like, you're the only Arab Muslim in an all-white neighborhood. Like, you don't need a gun for protection. You're the reason everyone else has one. How do you not get that? I went to a really small, like, Southern Baptist college in Alabama. Very, very strict Christian school. There was, like, no diversity there at all, though. It was, like, 99% white people and me, like, this front row right here. Like, the closest I got to another Arab there was Jesus. We were very tight. This is how white this school was. I was driving to school one day and I was speeding and this cop pulled me over and he saw my parking decal from the university and he's like, "Oh, I see you go to Sanford. You must be a good kid. This time I'm gonna let you off with a warning." And that was like the closest I've gotten to white privilege. It's really fun. I see why you guys do it. Very cool. Guys, tell me what you think about this. I read this study recently that says that the name that your parents give you influences your personality and who you grow up to be. Do you guys think there's some truth to that? Some of you, your name has to do, yeah, some people are nodding. I don't know. I don't know if that's always true because I grew up with a kid named Jihad. Yeah, he's just an accountant now for ISIS. So I don't know what to make of that. I think it's crazy to fight over a religion though. Like, I'm not particularly religious or anything, but I think like all of the major religions, like they pretty much preach the same thing if you guys think about it, right? Like, this is just a really small example of something that we all have in common. Like in the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran, they all talk about heaven the exact same way. They all refer to it as a paradise land flowing with milk and honey. And that's like one small thing we can all agree on. That vegans are going to hell. That's what I got from that. No. Are there any vegans in the audience? I'm sure. No one wants to admit it. No? Or we're too weak to hold our hands up. There's got to be at least one vegan, and they would have told me by now. No, if there aren't vegans in the audience, I swear I have nothing against you. Some of my best friends are self-righteous. So.
Let's see, I'm going to talk about a bunch of shit. Oh, first off, the beers, that's great. Everybody drinking? Yeah. New Year's? Y'all get fucked up on New Year's? Yeah. Well, I don't drink. I got demons, you know. I can't. Legally. I don't drink, but I never had any real problems. I literally just got headaches, so I quit drinking, which is fine. For me, it was fine. But what happens is a lot of times people just find out I don't drink, and then they just text me their sadness in the middle of the night. They're like, "Hey, I just yelled at my wife, man, and I think I gotta clean it up. How'd you get sober?" And I was like, "Ooh, I just stopped drinking, dude. I don't know." You might want to call like a problem guy, you know. The worst thing worst thing that ever happened when I was drinking was one time I got so drunk at an airport bar that I had to take a taxi home, which sucked, you know, because I was supposed to take a plane to Chicago. A lot of money. It was actually Spirit, so it was about the same, you know? About the same.
My credit, I was on this show called The Nick. Have you guys heard of it? Yeah, it's usually a good show, right? I was on that episode of The Nick. I was playing like an Irish construction worker who was just in a subway blast. Maybe you recognize me. But like, so like, I'm fucked up, right? Like, I was in an explosion, so like, I have like the makeup department put like little wood pieces in my head, you know, and then they like cover me in blood. Like, they had like a ketchup bottle that they were just soaking me with blood all over me, right? And like, so they wheel me into the scene and on a gurney, and the director's like, "All right, so what you're gonna do here is they're gonna wheel you in, and you're gonna act like you're hurt." I was like, "Okay, great, I can do that." So they wheel me in, and I snap into acting mode. I was like, "Owie, owie, 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 owie." They're like, "No, not like that." So then we did the scene again, and they pushed me back in. I was like, how being hurt sounds. And so like I'm in there, and then famous actor Clive Owen walks in, right? And he starts like assessing me for damage, and he's like feeling around my face and stuff. And like I'm laying on the gurney like this, right? And he's like, you know, kind of feeling around, and then he leans over the gurney, right? And I'm laying like this, and all of a sudden I feel Clive Owen's dick and balls smash into the back of my wrist. And I say smash because it was a lot of pressure. It was like, okay, you know how you put like a hamburger on a grill, but then you use a burger press to smash it into the grill? That's what it felt like. Like his dick and balls were the burger, his body was the burger press, my wrist, I guess, was the grill. And that was the coolest fucking day of my life. The director was like, cut! And I was like, hey, let's do another one. I'm gonna flip my hands over this time. Oh.
This is so nice. What a classy thing. Couple quick things. Very funny. I'll start in a minute. But first, Patrick was up here and told you that he got hugged by Arsenio Hall, and then Gideon was up here and he said that he got smashed by the genitals of Clive Owen. So, man, what am I gonna tell you? You know what I mean? Arsenio, Clive Owen. Who's next? And what could they do? Oh, that'll be my closure. I also like, I mean, here's some highlights from like previously on this show. You know, like Patrick was all like, hey, have you guys seen these movies? And we're like, no. I'm like, hey, have you guys seen Patrick's comedy? Yes, definitely. So when Patrick was up here, one thing that he said was, that's the kind of shit I like to look at about a lady. And it was nice. It was so, he called the lady shit. But in like a sweet way. It's like, if you went up to that lady and you were like, hey, how'd you like to be called shit? And she'd be like, no. Be like, let me finish, you know? I also like, the first time that Patrick said he was going to start doing comedy, the next thing he said was, you have nachos. And... oh yeah. It is true that in, I think half of the states at least, cousins, first cousins can marry. And second cousins, that's all of us, you know? So, everybody fucks some cousin, you know what I mean? That's... everyone. I mean, not everyone. Not if you don't fuck. That's the way. That would be that's your secret riddle way out of this one. Oh, you guys talking about your cousins? All right. That's what you get. I've decided my new thing to say if people talk at my shows, if they heckle or what have you. This happened the other day. I started talking about, I went to Boston University, and then I heard people saying things. And I was like, what? And I just finished the joke, and I was like, what? And they were like, sucks to be you. And I was like, oh, did you go to a nearby but different college? And that's why and they went to BC, you know, almost the same. I think they're just mad that theirs isn't a university, you know what I mean? And they're so close. A C is a U. It's like, it's just... but I didn't know if they were a student, if they were, so I like legitimately, I've been mean in my life. And I don't want to be. And so I think that makes me better than people who never were mean and don't want to be, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm really good. And so what I said to this person who yelled, and chatted during I was like, how old are you? You know, like what, that's my new thing to say to hecklers, just be like, how old are you? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to shame people, but I'm just being like, sincerely, I want to know what age a person is when they think it's good to do what they're doing. So I went to BU, and in 2005, I won a stand-up comedy competition there. I was officially BU's funniest student, which means out of 32,000 people, I was the funniest of the 11 that were in the contest. So, pretty big honor.
My family's really into baseball. Anyone like baseball here? Baseball fans? A couple of us, all right? This joke is for the rest of you. I'm not not big on baseball. I never really liked it, mainly because it's like really boring to watch on the TV. Can we agree that that's like the stereotype? It's boring, yeah, one person clapping, don't be afraid, you can clap harder. It is, it's boring on the TV. And if that's the case, then why do we still have baseball on the radio? I've never been watching baseball on the TV and thought, you know what this could use right now? A blindfold. My eyes are ruining this for me. Oh, you want me to watch baseball right now? Sorry, these peepers are too busy staring into the abyss. Let my ears do the heavy lifting, that's why I got this ye old hearing horn. Ooh, minorities on the field, that's new, okay. For whatever reason, that is the most controversial joke I have ever written. One time, halfway through telling it, some guy got up in the back and just yelled out, "The car!" And at first I thought he was just trying to break up a street hockey game. But then I realized he was trying to inform me that sometimes people like to listen to baseball on the radio while in the car. And I think if you're listening to something as boring as baseball on the radio, you shouldn't be operating heavy machinery. You're at a mental health risk. And if you're seething with rage at this point over this bit, all you gotta do is come up to me after the show and engage in a 15-minute conversation about baseball. Because if that happens again, this is going in the trash. That's for sure. I cannot handle another one of those. That guy, he asked me if I had watched the movie The Sandlot. And I was like, yeah. He's like, why would you watch The Sandlot if you don't like baseball? I don't know, pal, because it's also a movie? Like, I don't know anything about the fur trade, but I can still enjoy 101 Dalmatians, you know? We're at a tumultuous time with movies. There's a big diversity problem in Hollywood. But I think we're getting better. We're getting better. We're making small steps. Black Panther came out this year. We fans here? Did we like the movie? Yeah! Great. I did too. Some people did not. There was a little bit of outrage that the LGBTQ community wasn't represented in the movie. Which, like, I get, but shut up. You know? Shut up. Can't Black Panther just be a good thing? Can't we just have it as a good thing? Like, don't get me wrong. We do have a diversity problem. We made a movie about the Great Wall of China starring Matt Damon. From Cambridge, Massachusetts. But that's not the way to fix that problem. You know, we can't tear down the good things. It's just, if there's too much diversity in movies, that's just going to feel ingenuine. Like they're trying to meet a quota. It's going to feel weird. Like, can you imagine how weird the movie Speed would be if it had too much diversity? It's like, all right, we got this bomb on the bus, and if we go under 50 miles per hour, it's going to blow up. Okay, who's on the bus with you? It is a packed one today. We got a black person, Asian person, a Hispanic person, Jewish person, Native American, Russian person, Russian Jewish person, Native American who's Jewish, gay guy, lesbian, bisexual, woman who identifies as a man, man who identifies as a woman, man who identifies as Carl. Let's see, we have a guy in a wheelchair, guy in crutches, we have a short person, a tall person, a Native American in a wheelchair wearing a yarmulke, and in the back we have a racist. Probably on the wrong bus, to be honest. And they're like, before we get to the bomb, are you driving the human version of Noah's Ark right now? What's going on? That's fine. You guys mind if I get vulnerable with you here? Yeah? All right. I'm going to tell you the story about how I lost my virginity. Yeah. I was in college, in architecture school. So romantic. And I was at a get-together with my architecture friends. and there were 3 guys, including me, and 2 girls. And at one point, one of the girls started making out with the other girl. She was real horny. And then she looked to the rest of the group and she said, "I will literally have sex with anyone here." And like a KGB agent who just heard his passphrase, I knew what had to happen next. I started making some assumptions. I was like, well, you're a straight woman, you're a fiance, you're a man without a spine, and you're desperate. We have a winner. So we had sex. It was naughty, it was wrong, it was bad, and not like in the good way. It was incorrect. Guys who made love incorrect. She had to do a lot of the top work. At one point I decided to scratch her back. I was like, you should get some kind of pleasure out of this. Does this feel good? And she's like, yeah, I guess. And this is where it gets real embarrassing, guys, because I was laying down at one point and she was giving me a blowjob, and my foot was close to where her vagina was. So I took my big toe and tried to get her off with it, guys. Very quickly she said, don't do that, don't do that. Don't do that. So that was the weekend, and then the next day, she messaged me, she's like, hey, are we cool? I was like, yeah, we're cool. And then that Monday, I switched out of architecture college. Have you ever had sex so bad it looked like you changed your career because of it? It's like, no, it wasn't you, it was architecture. I had a one-night stand with architecture. I tried to scratch architecture's back. It did not work. I'm just gonna move on with my life, you know? Maybe business marketing will appreciate how big my toe is. Oh, yeah.
And I've been having fun being single. I recently hooked up with a guy in an open relationship. Is anyone in open relationships here? Oh. Did one person just go, yeah? That's what it's like being in an open relationship. Yeah. You're fucking jealous? I'm jealous of being in it. I don't like sleeping with someone in that situation, though. Because I hooked up with this guy, and afterwards we were lying there, and he was like, yeah, you know, my girlfriend and I, we branch out with other people, and it strengthens our relationship. I was like, okay, glad I could help. I'd rather, if you're not single, I'd rather you're just cheating with me. That's a dick move, but it's flattering as hell. You're choosing to ruin something else for me. Just the highest honor. After we have sex, I want a scathing Facebook message from your girlfriend. Not a thank you card from the love of your life. I don't want to receive a wedding invitation. Could you imagine if I went? I meet someone, they're like, yeah, I introduced them. I'm like, I kept them together. I'm an oversharer, so if I were in an open relationship, I want it to be an emotional open relationship. I'll explain. That's where sex, just with one person, but feeling like someone's the only person I can really talk to, that's for multiple people. I just want to call 7 different guys at night and tell them I love them. But that's just what I want. All right. I feel like I might be alone on that. Before my boyfriend and I broke up, we were talking about experimenting a little bit. We were talking about having a threesome. That was exciting. Yeah. The good news is we were both down for the threesome. The bad news is he, of course, imagined it, him, another girl, me. I imagined it, me, another guy, another girl. I am back out there. It's hard to find a good guy. Clap if you're a guy who identifies as a feminist. Wow, okay. I love the joining in as I guess I better clap too. Wait, I don't care what you are, you're all trash. But what I will say though is What I will say is the male feminists get criticized by the non-feminist males. Like, oh, they're just doing that to get laid. Maybe, but like everything every guy does is to get laid. Like you go to the gym, you try to like make a lot of money. You just think you're special because you're doing it the old-fashioned way. Like at least the male feminists, even if they're lying, like they're willing to say it. Like the other guys, you won't even say you're a feminist for sex. That's how much you hate. Like you love disrespecting women more than you love fucking them. Also, you don't have to warn me about the male feminist. Like I can spot a guy who says he's a feminist who still hates women. It's easy. They say things like, yeah, I believe in equal pay. Pay him more than me. Anything to get him to stop yapping. Jesus, can we get... Yeah, have your little abortion. Anything to keep my gal happy and skinny. Feminist. My brother is a very outspoken feminist. He's drowning in pussy. Anyway, but that's a weird thing to know, but I went to his college graduation. I found out some things. But when I was at the ceremony at the graduation, they had a guy translating everything into sign language, which was great, except my brother was graduating from a music school. So there could have been deaf family members in the audience, of course, but some of the speeches at a music school graduation get very awkward to sign. Just addressing the class, music is the highest form of art. Without music, life would be meaningless. The guy signing is just like, don't worry about it. He just takes matters into his own hands. Like paintings are the highest form of art. It's paintings. Eventually he's just like this guy.
It was cool. I grew up around a lot of rich liberals, and they're great because they're like really ashamed of all the money they have. I feel like rich liberals created the idea of checking your privilege so they could brag in a socially acceptable manner. It's like, yeah, I'm a white, cisgendered, heterosexual male with a lot of family wealth, a fat dick, full head of hair, and you know what? That's just something I'm gonna have to learn to live with, all right? It's the worst people. God damn, I hate Florida. It's also like so racist. The most racist thing I ever heard was in Florida, which was a guy who said that this was back in the day, my family would own your family. I'm like, nigga, you could never afford my family. You lease a Ford Focus is a bad financial decision for you, bro. I'm the most expensive thing in the state. So then I moved up, I went to high school in Jersey, which is just the Florida of the North. I get no respect anywhere I go, dude. God damn it. It's like, hey, I'm a northerner. No, you're fucking not, dude. Keep your ass on the other side of the bridge. In high school, I was on the football team, and I was also on the dance team, so it's like Spike Lee directed High School Musical, that's me. And movies always have the jocks as the bad guys, which like, sure, but theater kids are vicious assholes. I remember I would leave football practice to go dance, all the football players would call me Atheer, I'm like, whatever. But then I would leave dance practice to go study my playbook, and all the dancers like, oh, gonna huddle up with your boys and fuck each other? I'm like, what? What the hell, dude? I thought y'all were gay. It's like, we are gay, but we're also bitches. Now, please, I'm like, I hate high school. Why is everyone so mean to me? I love dancing, dude. Just love it. It's my favorite thing to do. It's really hard to love dancing, but also like not like talking to people at parties. Because it gives off very conflicting signals. You can't just be like breaking it down by yourself, like, not fucking talk to me, alright? This is for me. This is my thing. Don't leave, I need all of this. My ideal party is me just dancing, everyone sitting, watching, and not saying a fucking word. It's my ideal party, and I just gavel dance away. Goodbye, to top. That's fun. Now I'm in New York. It's a fun weird place. I have a job. I'm a writer for a hip hop documentary, which sounds like a job a racist would just make up for a black person. But it's truly how I make money. And I've learned so much about hip hop. One thing I realized is that there's zero consensus in the hip hop community on what a gun sounds like. It's insane. It's like bam, boom, blah, somebody's wrong. What are we doing? What is this? I also realized why I love hip hop. It's because it's just the cattiest genre of music. It's the only genre that has diss tracks, just hot gossip on a record. That's amazing. Like if classical music had that, I would love it. Just Beethoven, like da 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 da. Mozart has a secret family with a French whore. Like, oh my god. This is a good song. This is a good song. If every orchestra just ended with damn, I'll be like, I'm going to more orchestra. It's the best genre of music I've ever encountered. Holy shit. I feel like I'm hurting him. It's like getting things out. It's like, this isn't even about, this is the only place I can scream and it's socially acceptable. It's okay. I laugh like a Japanese schoolgirl, so it's okay. It's like, yep, that's why I don't date that much. I know this doesn't seem like a big deal, but like, I can't say the word pussy comfortably. Yeah, I know, but it's just like girls my age talk so dirty. They're like, oh, what are you gonna do to my pussy when you get home? Well, first I'm gonna clean your mouth out with soap, Jesus. It's also hard because I love sexting, and I like receiving, but I'm not like good at sending sexy texts. I just wish I could outsource that to a dude in India who's just like fucking filthy. Just like sends dirty shit to her all the time. Then we meet up, we have sex for real. She's like, yeah, you're not as good as this in person. But, you know, I'm more like a writer than a performer, you know? It's also strange. Sometimes I'll get a sext when I'm not horny, and sexting when you're not horny really feels like you're just like ghostwriting for a different person. It's like, I don't know, like what is his voice, you know? I want to drown you in my cup? That's insane. No one likes that. What the fuck am I thinking?
Hello, I'm Blair Dawson. It's so good to be here. This is the tone of my set. I didn't always used to be this horny. I used to think, I was on this birth control that made me think that I was asexual. But then I went off of it December 2016, and to my surprise, I am a hoe at heart. I dated 7 people this last year, and that is a hoeing increase of 700%. I will squirt my way to the moon. Thank you so much. I feel the slutty support in here. And, you know, I used to watch a lot of porn growing up, and I'd look at the women and I'd ask myself, why do they sound like dying whales? And then I had good sex once, and I'm like, oh, call me Moby Dick. I'm trying to date right now, but I'm a pretty morbid Jew, so my go-to icebreaker is, what is your most terrible memory? And recently someone told me, he said, when I ran over my childhood dog. But then we made out, your girl's got game. I'm trying to date, but I refuse to use dating apps. I prefer to ruin friendships. rather burn a bridge than invest 6 weeks getting to know Dave from New Jersey, only to learn that his favorite author is Ayn Rand. You're a sociopath! I'm hooking up with one of my friends now, and it's pretty fun. Except before we even had sex, he said to me, Blair, I need you to tell me that you know that we're not in a relationship. Okay, you are 30 and unemployed. That is like me saying I do not want to have herpes. Why are we announcing obvious truths? I was a pretty spacey child, spacey like quiet child, which basically means every teacher I've ever had thought I had a learning disability. That's fun. You know, I once had a teacher get really frustrated with me because she thought that I couldn't count. But really I was distracted thinking about when Britney Spears made out with Madonna. That is when our country peaked! Okay. If you could make participating as interesting as the 2003 VMAs, I would have had a 4.0. Is anyone in here a teacher? Yeah. Oh, really? How much do you make? Did I hear nothing? Okay, yeah. I looked up, once all the teachers started going on strike, I looked up their yearly income, and the average teacher makes $50K a year. I also looked up the average income of an escort, and they make $80K a year. I used to work as a kindergarten teacher where a little boy jumped on my lap and peed on me, and I just think we deserve the same wage. I recently come to terms with being a bisexual woman. It's pretty awful because it means I'm a virgin again. It sucks, you know. I like to think that straight Blair is a flirty hoe, and then gay Blair is a 12-year-old boy at a dance. The type of 12-year-old who gets caught lying about touching a boob because I say it feels like a bag of sand. What does a boob feel like? I don't know. I don't have any. Okay, is there a correlation between nipple color and flavor? If my assumptions are correct, I think it tastes like sand because, or not sand, salt, because that's what my skin feels like when I suck it. Is that relatable? I don't know. I'm a relatable comedian, you know. Can you guys tell that I used to be a sleepaway camp counselor? Yo! Camp counselor vibes for days, everyone. I just found out that I was one of my campers' first lesbian crushes. Okay, we have a tepid response for the gays! Woo! Woo! I just found out that, you know, like, I was looking at this former camper's Facebook profile, and I'm like, oh my god, Blair, can you date her? He said, yes, the answer we're looking for is no. This is your date, correct? This joke is called male entrapment. I say this because the camp that I worked at was the camp that I went to as a child. My counselor, he still worked there. He was 32, I was 20. He developed a crush on me. He wrote a song about me. He performed it at our camp talent show. And one of the lyrics was, and I shit you not, I've been watching her grow for all of these years. Did I sleep with him? Yeah! You bitches!
Thank you. That was Jackknife Comedy 6 65. Goddamn, give it up for yourselves. That was exciting. Okay, now this is how comedy ends. This is what happens is, some of you bought tickets to get here, that's great. Some of you snuck in, you sneaky fuckers, which I respect, honestly. But also, we pay all the comics, we do all the press stuff like that. None of us are famous or have money or anything like that. He's got a baby for some reason. So we're gonna do right now is we're gonna pass this.
Life orgasm.
Hey, well, you know, you can get pregnant without orgasming. What? I think you can, right? Do we have any doctors in the room? Stand up and then take off your pants. Oh boy. Okay, well, that's the worst thing to say. And then now, please put money in this bucket. I'm going to pass it around. If you guys have, you can put like a 1 in there. You don't have to do anything. If you want, you can put a 5 in there or 25. If you want to give us $30,000, just give it right to me. Don't tell Gideon about it, all right? Don't tell anybody else. It's funny when you laugh during this horrific part where we just beg for cash.
You have change for $1?
He's great. You look like a little bit. Have you gotten this before?
Tarantino.
No way, buddy. That's you. No, he's lying.
Licking that lady's feet the whole time.
That's fine. No, I think you look a little bit like, what's his name? The dad from Malcolm in the Middle? Walter White? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? What's that guy's name? Breaking Bad.
Oh, Breaking Bad.
You get that, right?
Yeah, I did the same job.
Well, what do you cook meth?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, the Russo, that's good. He does look a little, I'm not lying, everybody. He does kind of look a little bit. I'm like, God damn, this is so funny. He does, right? Hey, stand up, buddy. What's your name? Can I ask you? Chad? Everybody look at Chad. Doesn't he kind of look like that? Wouldn't you love to see him raise Frankie Muniz or fucking murder our friends on TV? You know what I mean? Like, let Hank die while he's just in the back of that car. Spoiler! Fuck! I hope you guys weren't going to watch Breaking Bad 8 years ago. Are you really? Do you like it? There's a movie called El Camino that came out. Who saw El Camino? You guys watch it today? God bless America! I liked it. I thought it was okay. By the way, is there still a bucket with thank Christ? Somebody didn't just walk the fuck out. Wouldn't that be funny? Somebody's like, I guess, and then they leave, you know? Oh, God, comedy sucks. I love it when you just see it fast move. They're like, this was not worth it. No, fuck no. Okay, well, here's the deal. Okay, it's back up here. This is fantastic. So this is our show. Our next show is going to be the first Saturday in December. I think it's December 7th, maybe. That is our 66th show. It's our last show of the year. So if you guys want, you can come out to that. Also, guys, this motherfucker's got an album that we put out. It's called, what is it called?
A Decade of Hits.
A Decade of Hits, which, okay, we get it. And his wife orgasm, too, you know what I mean? But you guys can get that on, it's on everything. It's on Spotify, it's on iTunes, it's on Tidal. You know, we had 50 listen to it and was like, yep.
Familia, baby.
That's right. So get that. And then also, now here's the cool thing. If you guys like stand-up comedy, which I personally am not a fan, but if you guys like it,